Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanasalakaya Sakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare. So all glories to Srila Gurudeva and all glories to Swami B.P. Puri Maharaj for giving this treasure in the form of a book called Art of Sadhana. Today's topic is listening to the Bhagavata. Here we need to know what do we mean by Bhagavata. So to understand, I need to make this small prelude. We are made of three things: gross body, subtle body, and the soul. Gross body is what we really see externally. Subtle body is that something that we don't see, which consists of mind, intelligence, and false ego. And the soul is all the way inside. So soul is really the core, then outer is the subtle body, and then the gross body is just the outermost. So other than the soul, everything here is material. So soul is the only spiritual here. So now talking about intelligence, which is really going to be the root for our program today, is the intelligence is of two kinds. One, material intelligence that needs personal ability and research attitude. Then the second is the spiritual intelligence that we cannot get it by ourselves, that needs mercy from spiritual master. Now, what is material intelligence? It is the power of the mind that forms ideas, imaginations, conceptions, and knows how to figure things out. All these are material, not spiritual. Unfortunately, this material intelligence and knowledge has no value in the spiritual dimension. In fact, one has material knowledge, more crooked tends to become, and often spiritually they get bankrupt. So this is the problem. And one very surprising thing about is, in this world, that everyone thinks that he or she is the most intelligent. Even a donkey thinks that he is the most intelligent. He thinks that the human beings are not intelligent, but the donkey is intelligent. So material intelligence makes one proud. This is the defect of the material intelligence. It makes one to say, I am better than everyone else. I am more intelligent than you, and so on. But a real intelligent person will seek only spiritual intelligence, spiritual knowledge. When material intelligence makes one proud, on the other hand, spiritual knowledge makes one the opposite. We can see this in the examples of saints. We can even, like actually yesterday we had a Harikatha, we were covering about the history of Surdas. We all saw how polite and how humble he was. And so now the spiritual intelligence makes one humble. So the material and spiritual intelligence are opposite in nature. Proud versus humble. Arrogant versus gentle. Asking versus giving. If we see all our sastras, none will promote material intelligence. While material knowledge is temporary and has no value, spiritual knowledge is permanent and has the greatest value. Now regarding the material intelligence, Bhagavad Gita 18th chapter verses 29 to 31 talk about three kinds of material intelligences: Sattvic intelligence, Rajasic intelligence, and Tamasic intelligence. They are all controlled by three modes of material nature, which are nothing but the power coming from Krishna. And in Gita chapter 7 verse 14 it says that material intelligence is actually no intelligence at all. Why? Because they are all under the clutches of Maya, under the control of Maya. It is Mayic intelligence. It is not the real intelligence. Devihi yesha gunamayi mama maya durhatyaya Maham eva ye prapadyate mayam yetam tarandite. The external energy consisting of these three qualities. What are they? Sattvic, Rajasic and Tamasic. Is so empowered and thus impossible to conquer. Materialistic people are caught by this Maya. But who is not going to be caught by this Maya? One who surrenders to me. This verse is really spoken by Krishna. So one who surrenders to me, they will be far superior. Why? As they possess spiritual knowledge, spiritual intelligence. They are the only one who can cross over this Maya, and he is the real intelligent one. So spiritual knowledge is beyond all those three material modes. What is the spiritual knowledge? What is it? When one accepts Krishna as the only shelter and surrenders to him, then the flow of the spiritual knowledge starts to come. He gets all the spiritual treasure. But how many people accept this fact? So they do not have real intelligence as per Bhagavad Gita spoken by Lord Krishna himself. This chapter is about Bhagavata. This particular chapter that we are covering today is about Bhagavata. Bhagavata means spiritual wisdom. There are two kinds of Bhagavata. Grantha Bhagavata, the revealed Shastras, Pramanas, all those Vedas and so many Shastras we are talking, scriptures, they are all called Grantha Bhagavata. The second kind of Bhagavata is Bhakta Bhagavata. Who are they? They are the pure devotees who know the revealed scriptures. But what is the origin for these spiritual truths? Lord Krishna says that he is the only origin. So spiritual intelligence is given by him only. But how does he give? He gives it only through his bhaktas. Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam tadami bhuti yogam tam yena mamupayandite. This is Bhagavad Gita 10th chapter 10th verse. To those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give the real intelligence. Dadami buddhi yogam tam. I give the real intelligence by which, what is the use of this real intelligence? What is all about? We are talking about here. What is the goal of this spiritual intelligence? So that they can reach him and be the topmost blissful. That is the above. His abode is the topmost of everything. So this intelligence that is coming from him through his bhaktas are the real intelligence by which they can come to me. That's what he says. So we understand that Krishna is the only one who gives it to his dear bhaktas, and we can get it only from his bhaktas. These bhaktas are also called Mahajans. Mahajans. Maha means high. Jan means special. These are all actually saintly people. So this spiritual treasure actually comes only through Bhagavatas. Bhakta Bhagavatas, called Mahajans. Okay, so Mahajan means great saints who are the authority. Why they are the authority? Because they are the one who are receiving the spiritual knowledge from Krishna himself. So now, because why we have to get from him? Otherwise we cannot understand. Dharmasya tattvam nihitam guhayam mahajano yena gataksapanta. This is from Mahabharata, Banaparva. So what it's saying is, it is very difficult, in fact extremely difficult to understand the secret behind these pure religions. But one who follows in the footsteps of the great authorities are called Mahajans. They will be successful. That's what this sloka says. And so now the spiritual knowledge, when it comes, there are two ways that can be obtained. One is called Aroha Pantha. Aroha Panda means going from bottom to top. Then the second one is Avaroha Panda. That is descending from top to down. What are the difference? Aroha Panda means we using our own intelligence, trying to really massage and try to really come up with some, saying what is spiritual, who am I, who is God, what is this world and where am I, what is the relation, all kinds of things by yourself. So in that process, they call this Aroha Panda Marga. They will say, oh no, this is not spiritual, that is not spiritual, Neti. Neti means not this. But how? Using our own brain and research. This is the tough work actually. How can we do it? That's a big question. But the second one is called Avaroha Panda. That means that the spiritual knowledge is coming, descending from top to bottom. That is what? Accepting from Mahajans. So of the two, Avaroha Panda is the best. It is the easiest though, and comes from Guru Parampara. But it needs Shraddha in Guru. Shraddha means strong faith. If you want to know, how this one works, there's an analogy. If you want to know who is your father, you simply accept what your mother says. Because she is the authority. You simply accept the authority with full faith. You cannot keep on testing every man to see by yourself that if one is your father. A spiritual master is like our mother. He says the truth and we simply accept the truth. So we accept the authority. This is the easiest process. But you need Shraddha. Shraddha means strong faith. So, but now there is a question comes. All right, I have a spiritual master. I am approaching a spiritual master so that I can get spiritual knowledge. But will I get it automatically? Will I get it unconditionally just by accepting a spiritual master? The answer is no. It does not come automatically though. Then how to get spiritual knowledge? The spiritual master must be satisfied by the disciple. One has to be humble and placing him at a lower position. And only then the spiritual knowledge starts to flow to the student. Like the water flows from a higher position to the lower position automatically. This is the process. So now we are coming to the main subject of the chapter. Bhagavata means from whom the spiritual knowledge is obtained. So again I mentioned that there are two kinds of Bhagavatas. Grantha Bhagavata, those are the scriptures, and Bhakta Bhagavata, the pure devotees or Mahajans. Actually they are not independent. Why? They are one and the same. Because without the Bhakta Bhagavata, we cannot understand Grantha Bhagavata. All the Grantha Bhagavata is also coming in sound form or getting written through a Bhakta Bhagavata only. So the Grantha Bhagavata is eternal. It is there all the time. It's only these Bhakta Bhagavatas bring them. And then again, from the disciplic succession, they are all actually given to the disciples. So the Grantha Bhagavata actually manifests through the Bhakta Bhagavata. Now let us look at the Grantha Bhagavata for a second. Grantha means scripture, either by sound or written. Right? Either by sound form or written. In olden days, knowledge was transmitted by sound and memorization. Now, due to the poor memory in this Kali Yuga, Veda Vyasa wrote them down. And 4 Vedas are primary Shastras as we call. They are called Rig, Sama, Yajur and Atharvana. Each Veda consists of 4 parts. Okay, 4 parts of each Veda. Each one, not global, each one. If you take Rig Veda, you will have 4 parts. Sama Veda, you will have 4 parts like that. So, what are they? Samhita. Samhita is the main Vedic text. And Brahmana, this is not the Brahmana that as we call. This is Brahmanas. Is history and significance of the mantras. Then Aranyakas. Aranyakas, they are the one they reveal the purpose behind the Vedas. And the 4th part is Upanishads. There are totally 108 Upanishads. They tell the meaning and knowledge behind verses and rituals. And now let us look into the four ashramas. There is ashramas, which how they are all coming, they are all mapped to. We have four ashramas. Each respectively focus on the four parts of the Vedas. Brahmacharis, Grahastha, Vanaprastha and Sannyasi. Brahmachari is the one who really starts afresh. He learns. So what is he learns Vedic knowledge. So the Samhita part, which are the main Vedic texts, are the ones who are really learned by the Brahmacharis. That's why you see in the Vedic schools, they're all small brahmacharis, all Brahmacharis. Then comes Grahastha. Grahastha actually don't really do much about Vedas at all, but only certain portions, because there are a lot of mantras and rituals are involved in the Grahastha life. So they will go for Brahmanas. Brahmanas are mantras and rituals. Then Vanaprastha, it's after 50 years, we are supposed to renounce, basically detach yourself from your family life and live in the spiritual direction. So they all will use Aranyakas. What is Aranyakas? They are the purpose, they explain the purpose behind the Vedas. Then the fourth order, then the highest order is the Sannyasi. So sannyasa, they will be concentrating on Upanishads. There are 108 Upanishads, and this is all full of knowledge. So now besides these, we have Puranas. Puranas, especially Rajasic and Tamasic Puranas, are meant for common people. Now we have seen how the different spiritual knowledges are divided and categorized. Unfortunately, we do not have time to learn all the Shastras. In fact, the Vedas, what we have really caught out of what really supposed to be manifested, and it was manifested before, we have only 6% of the original. All are gone. That 6% of the Vedas is the only one Vedavyasa took, and they divided, even he divided that into 4 parts. They are all also huge. So unfortunately, we do not have time to learn all the Shastras. Especially in this Kali Yuga, people do not have memory or time to read all these. But in the higher planetary systems, like all the way up to Brahmaloka, which is also called Satyaloka, where Lord Brahma resides, their memory power and all, they are very powerful. In fact, the Shastras which are revealed there are, it is said that it's about 192 times more than what is revealed on earth. Again, as I said, only 6% of the original is there available right now. So think about it. I have only 6 pages of a 100-page book, and I am calling this is all I got the Vedas. Actually, it is not true. So if you take the original Vedas, which are supposed to be there 100%, you multiply that by 192 times. That is the amount of the spiritual knowledge available in the Satyaloka or Brahmaloka. Now, here, as I said, Kali Yuga, people do not have memory or time to read those. Now, a question comes. What if I just need one Shastra to learn? Then what is the topmost of all the Shastras? The answer comes from this amazingly powerful sloka. It is coming from Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam Puranam Amalam Yet Vaishnavana Priyam Yasmin Paramahamsyam Ekam Amalam Jnanam Param Jiyate Tatra Jnana Viraga Bhakti Sahitam Naishkarmyam Avishkrutam Tatrunvansu Patan Vicharana Paro Bhaktya Vimuche Naraha. What is the meaning? This beautiful Srimad Bhagavatam is the spotless Purana, the scripture most dear to the Vaishnavas. It is the most authentic. The supreme knowledge of the Paramahamsas is given and glorified here. One who reads it will get absolute pure knowledge, renunciation and devotion. A human being who hears and studies the Bhagavatam and then discusses and meditates will be liberated. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, this is why he declared, because he is Param, he is Radha Krishna combined. He said that we do not need to read anything else because we don't have enough power. We don't have any memory power. See, we are in a horrible situation. So do one thing. Srimad Bhagavatam came. So just Srimad Bhagavatam is enough. Srimad Bhagavatam is the topmost of all the Grantha Bhagavatas. Topmost. Veda Vyasa wrote all the Vedas and Puranas. Then he wrote Brahma Sutra. So Brahma Sutra is a condensed knowledge of all. So what you see here, this is actually Brahma Sutra. Many of the things are all shortened. You will see just like one line, or 2 lines, or even just one word for certain philosophy. It's Sutra. Sutra means condensed form. So it's a condensed knowledge of all. It is called the Vedanta Sutra, also called Brahma Sutra. Same. So now this Vedanta Sutra is the original work. Arthoyam Brahma Sutranam Bharatartha Vinirnayaha Gayatri Bhashya Rupo Asau Vedartha Paribrumhitaha. Vedanta Sutra is the original work of Veda Vyasa, which contains a summary of 4 Vedas, 108 Upanishads, 18 Puranas, and 18 Upapuranas. As stated in the Garuda Purana, Srimad Bhagavatam is the natural commentary of Brahma Sutra. You don't have to read the Brahma Sutra. So you just read Srimad Bhagavatam, you got everything there. And who wrote the Brahma Sutra? Veda Vyasa himself wrote. So Veda Vyasa wrote Srimad Bhagavatam at his most mature stage. There is a history behind this. After writing Mahabharata, 4 Vedas, and 118 Upanishads, and 17 Puranas except Bhagavatam, and 18 Upapuranas, he was very disgusted actually. You may think that he must be so proud that he could really write so many things. But he was very disgusted. He wanted to kill himself. Then he was thinking what to do, and he meditated on his Gurudev. Who is the Gurudev of Veda Vyasa? Sri Narada Muni. And Narada Muni just realized, and he descended. He came and then told the reason why Veda Vyasa was not happy. He said, you cheated the people by promoting karma and jnana. You wrote Rajasic and Tamasic Puranas stating different demigods are the supreme. When you say Devi Purana, you say Devi is the topmost. So you have cheated them. That is why you are not happy. Actually, there was a reason behind that the Lord directed you to write like this. But look at what happens right now for you. You cheated. Did you write anything about the Leelas of Swayam Bhagavan? Did you write about how Yashoda Maya was really just catching the ear of Krishna and chastising him? And how he was crying and weeping? How she could really bind in the binding mortar? Did you like that? Did you write that? No. Do one thing. Sit down now. Meditate on the Lord. You have to undo whatever that you have done, damage that you have done. So Narada Muni asked Veda Vyasa to abandon all the Puranas, everything, whatever he wrote. But there is a reason why he had to write, because it is supposed to be for the low class people where they have to come up. So you have to write the Srimad Bhagavatam to dispel all the doubts forever. That is Srimad Bhagavatam. This fact is, whatever I mentioned is also mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam itself by Veda Vyasa. In fact, besides Srimad Bhagavatam, there is also one more scripture, Grantha Bhagavata, listed as important. That is Mahabharata. This is mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Bhagavata Bharata Dui Sasrera Pradhana Sehi Dui Kahe Kalite Shakshat Avataram. Srimad Bhagavatam and the Mahabharata are the 2 most important Vedic scriptures. of those two, Srimad Bhagavatam stands out. Because it contains all the narration of the pastimes of Lord Krishna from all the way from beginning. Out of the 12 cantos, the 9 cantos were all preparing for understanding about Lord Krishna. And the 10th canto is the summum bonum of Srimad Bhagavatam. All the pastimes of Lord Krishna, they are all there. There it says, all the 9 cantos that you have read so far are only prelude, just a preparation. Now I am telling the truth. Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Then only you can read the 10th canto, otherwise you cannot understand. So that is why, actually, that is the reason why Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu actually taught us that Srimad Bhagavatam is the best. She said, Krishna Tattva, Bhakti Tattva, Prema Tattva Sahara, Bhava Tattva, Rasa Tattva, Leela Tattva Ahara, Sri Bhagavata Tattva Rasa, Karila Prachare, Krishna Tulya Bhagavata, Janaila Samsare. So these are the only tattva, the philosophy. What is tattva? Tattva means philosophical truths. What are the things that we need to know? Krishna Tattva. Who is Krishna? Bhakti Tattva. What is devotion? What is bhakti? What is Prema Tattva? The Prema Tattva means that is the topmost, the goal of the bhakti, pure bhakti. And Bhava Tattva, different ecstatic stages. There are the Bhava Tattva. Rasa Tattva is basically the ecstatic, it's like a rasa of all the pastimes. Leela Tattva, they are the pastimes. And Sri Bhagavata Tattva. This Bhagavata means there are 2 kinds of Bhagavata, they said. Right? That is Bhagavan himself and also his pure devotees. There are Bhagavata Tattva. So all these nectarian pastimes are found only in Srimad Bhagavatam. And Bhagavatam is eternal and unlimited. Even with unlimited mouths of Adishesha, he is not able to narrate. What we have got is only a very tiny portion that was revealed when Lord Krishna descended here as Swayam Bhagavan 5,000 years ago. And as I said, in every higher loka also Shastras are there. So the Srimad Bhagavatam, the version of Srimad Bhagavatam is bigger and bigger and bigger as we go to different levels in the spiritual dimension. And there is an eternal Bhagavatam in Goloka. It is revealed all the time but only to the pure devotees. So another truth is that only Bhagavan knows about himself. So only Bhagavan knows about himself. So then who is the original speaker? So the original speaker of Bhagavatam is Lord Krishna only. Sakshat Iswaratvami Brajendra Nandana. Brajendra Nandana. Not Dwaraka Krishna, the one who really gave the Bhagavad Gita. That is not the Bhagavan we are talking about. He is not Bhagavan. He is a manifestation of the Bhagavan. So here Sakshat Ishvara Tumi Brajendra Nandana Tumara Nishvase Sarva Veda Pravartana Tumi Vakta Bhagavatera Tuminya Jana Artha Toma Vina Anya Janite Nahika Samartha. So he says Brajanandana is the one who knows about the real Bhagavatam. Because we don't want anything like Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, this yoga, that yoga, Kundalini Yoga. No, that is different. That is nothing to do with our whatever we are talking about. Do you think that in Srimad Bhagavatam we see all these things what are there in the Bhagavad Gita? We take only 2 verses from Bhagavad Gita and then put it out. Gaudiya's Dhara, that's all. Our Gurudev also says, so look at the essence of Bhagavad Gita, only 2 verses. So there is nothing more is necessary. That's for the Janata people who even memorize and then try to recite and all kinds of things. So that is their problem. So this sloka says, my dear Lord, you are the Supreme Lord Krishna himself. Who? The son of Maharaja Nanda. Nanda Maharaj, Brajendra Nandana. All the Vedic literatures are manifested with your exhalation. You are the original speaker of the Srimad Bhagavatam, and you alone know its true meaning. Other than you, no one can grasp the meaning. See, I told you before, remember we are covering. Only by His mercy, only when He chooses, He will give the spiritual knowledge to His pure bhaktas. This is most important to understand. Because we do not have direct way to hear from the Lord. We do not have. Also, we do not have the spiritual intelligence to understand the scriptures by ourselves. How many of us are actually by ourselves really, always, 24 hours a day, they think about, reading and reading. It's not, after some reading, you will get bored. But when you hear from Bhagavata, there is nothing like boredom. That is why when Sukadeva Goswami was narrating the Srimad Bhagavatam to Parikshit Maharaj, he did not even drink anything. He did not sleep. He did not eat. This was how he listened all the 7 days. So how can we learn? For that here comes the answer from. This is from Shveteshwara Upanishad. Yasya deve parabhaktir yada deve tada guru. Now Guru is coming here now. Tasyaita kadaita hi artha prakashande mahatmanaha. So only unto those great souls who have implicit faith in both the Lord and spiritual master. Yata deve tada guru. Who is the Lord's manifestation and not different from Him. A spiritual master is empowerment. He is direct. Krishna's Sakti is coming through him. Otherwise, he is not a spiritual master. So, who is the Lord's manifestation and not different from Him, are all the imports of Vedic knowledge automatically revealed. This is a very critical and important information. Only via Bhakta Bhagavata we can learn spiritual truths. Period. Only via Bhakta Bhagavata we can learn spiritual truths. Only via Bhakta Bhagavata we can learn spiritual truths. This is the core. Someone asked Gurudeva, look at here the glory of Bhakta Bhagavatas. Someone asked Gurudeva, oh Gurudeva, why do you go for morning walk every day? Gurudeva smiled and did not respond that time. Because he is different. His personality is very different. Then later he told, people do not understand why I go for morning walk. I wake up 2:30 a.m. or around 3 a.m. and prepare to serve Radha Krishna in Nishanda Leela. Nishanda Leela. So for those who know about Ashtakaliya Leela, that means the 8 different pastimes manifesting every day. Oh, how is that? How is that possible? That is eternal. There is no Kala. But then how can we really have these 8 times coming over here? It is when that Leela is because in the Kala, we have Kala. Our universe, our material universe, we have Kala. But it descends as Ashtakaliya in the time form for us. So this is what is very important. So 3 a.m. the Leela starts there. Okay? So he said that people see him only externally. He said this is very clear. Okay, understand this one. When I go to the morning walk, people see only my external body, but I am not in there. I rearrange the misplaced Sringara of Srimati Radharani. I wipe her face with damp cloth, redress her, give her a garland, decorate her feet with altar, anoint her with tilaka, and so many things I do. When I am going on my morning walk, I am present with Radhika and Manjaris all the time. No one can see all these things. They see just that I am just just walking to having a morning walk. See, because how I knew all this. Anyway, that's a different story. You won't be really finding out a lot of secrets from Gurudev. So I wanted to put it here because it is about Bhagavatas. Now anyway, now we know what is Grantha Bhagavata. We also learned that the only way to learn is from the Bhakta Bhagavata. Now the question comes, how do we listen to Bhakta Bhagavata? Is there any etiquette? Is there any rules and regulations that I have to follow? And what will enhance my listening? Here is the answer. These are the things that we should have. Sadhu Sangha Nama Kirtana Bhagavata Sravana. Sadhu Sangha Nama Kirtana Bhagavata Sravana. Madhura Vasa Sri Murtira Sraddhaya Sevana. Sakala Sadhana Sreshta Yei Panja Anga. Krishna Prema Janmaya Yei Panchera Alpasanga. Yeka Anga Sadhe Kaha Sadhu Bahu Anga. Nishta Kaile Ubhajaya Premera Taranga. Okay, this is very important. One should associate with devotees. Then only you can chant the holy names of the Lord. And hear Srimad Bhagavatam. Reside in Madhura, Madhura means Vrindavan, and worship the deity with faith and veneration. These 5 limbs of devotional service are the best of all. Even a slight, okay, this is another thing. At least, these things, these many things I have to do. But there is one more thing coming there. Ekanga sadhe kaha sadhu bahuvanga. So even a slight performance of these 5 awakens love for Krishna. See, eka anga sadhe keha sadhu bahuvanga. Nishta haile upajaya premera taranga. It will give you the proper result. I mean, proper means what? The ultimate result will eventually come. Even if you really do it one of these. So whether a person executes only one or many of these processes of devotional services, the waves of love of Godhead will well up as a result of his how? Because of his fixed determination. That determination has a name called Nishtha. Okay, actually I wanted to cover something about this Madhurya Kadambini, but it is so high. That is only for those who really regularly chant, actually it says about 64 rounds minimum or something like that, whatever. This is very, very important. Otherwise, we have no way of understanding it. So, Nishtha is one of the stages that really comes when we engage ourselves in the devotional life. Now, here comes another big thing. It may be a surprise for you all. Bhagavata should be heard, not read. This has something very because people are arguing about. Yes, this may sound really weird, but this is an important thing. We may read Bhagavatam, or we may even hear Harikathas given by other Bhagavatas, or we can really read from recorded messages, Bhagavatam, these verses and everything. No. You should hear it personally from a Bhagavata, on directly Sakshat. You need a living Bhagavata from whom you really hear. That is the most effective of real hearing. Not like putting a tape and then you are driving, going there. No. It is in fact discouraged. In the Padma Purana, it is mentioned that Gautama Muni advised Maharaja Ambarish to hear regularly Srimad Bhagavatam as it was recited by Sukadeva Goswami. How? Putting on listening to the tape? No. Why? How? He has to contact some Bhagavata and then hear from. And therein it is confirmed that Maharaja Ambarish heard Srimad Bhagavatam from the very beginning to the end as it was spoken by Sukadeva Goswami from a Bhagavata. So one who is actually interested in the Bhagavatam, therefore, must not play with it by reading or hearing a portion from here and a portion from there and trying to use this nonsense mind and trying to understand yourself what it could be. One must follow in the footsteps of great kings like Maharaja Ambarish or Maharaj Parikshit and hear it from a bona fide representative like Sukadeva Goswami directly. This is the way to listen to Bhagavata. Okay, this is in fact a very important point in the chapter. Bhagavatam cannot be understood by material intelligence. That is the reason I gave the prelude in the beginning. Here this sloka confirms that what I said, that one cannot use his material intelligence to understand Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam means Grantha Bhagavata and also even Bhakta Bhagavata. It says that Bhaktya Bhagavata Bhagavatam Grahyam Na Bhutya Na Chati Tikaya Na Bhutya. You cannot use your intelligence. It is material intelligence. It doesn't know anything about spiritual dimension. A person can never understand Srimad Bhagavatam through his material intelligence. He can understand only by devotion and hearing from a Bhagavata, listening to a Bhakta Bhagavata, not simply by exercising his material intelligence or simply through studying the commentaries. So what if someone says he knows Bhagavatam? This is another thing again. Lot of people are saying, yeah, I have read Bhagavatam, I know Bhagavatam. You want, yeah, I will. This is the problem now. In the last Harikatha about glories of Vaishnavas, that was probably a week back, way back. There we studied that a real Vaishnava won't say that he is a Vaishnava. And the similar thing also comes here now. Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam is Vaishnavanam Amritam. So, if somebody says that he knows Bhagavatam, what is the position? Bhagavata puji jeno yara ache jnana sena jane kabu Bhagavatera pramana. Anyone who thinks or claims that he has understood Srimad Bhagavatam will never truly be able to know its significance. Basically useless. I mean, but it's not really the intended use. They will go here and there. So why? Because the very moment one really understands Bhagavatam to the root, it changes the personality. He will say, no, this is a treasure. I am just touching the tip of the iceberg. I don't know the whole mountain which is really to be under. So I don't know Bhagavatam. That's what he will say. He won't say, I know Bhagavatam. That's what this sloka says. So, there is a proper way to study Bhagavatam. This is the very core of the chapter. We should study it with a Vaishnava, a devotee of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We should be we should be a surrendered soul to Lord Chaitanya. So that's what again it's iterating in the Chaitanya Charitamrita here. Jaha Bhagavata Pada Vaishnaverastane Ekanda Ashrayakara Chaitanya Charane Chaitanyera Bhakta Ganera Nitya Karasangam Tabete Jani Basitanda Samutra Taranga. Go and study the Bhagavatam with the Vaishnava. Take exclusive shelter of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's lotus feet. Catch hold of his feet, lotus feet. Always associate with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's devotees. If you do these things, you will be able to plunge into the ocean of his divine knowledge, ecstatic knowledge. In this world, there are so many Bhagavatam reciters who will give you perverted meanings to Bhagavatam stories. They also apply so much of materialistic masala and music to attract the people. Your mind will be attracted. Oh, beautiful music, beautiful singing. But they are actually making business by teasing the brains and minds of the listeners. We should not listen from them. If we do, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says he becomes angry. We should listen only from the pure devotees of Lord Chaitanya, who gives the as it is meaning. Rasha Bhasha Hayayadi Siddhanta Virodha Sahitena Pare Prabhu Manehaya Krodha. If any statement contains perverted reflections of the transcendental aesthetic or goes against the doctrines of the Bhagavatam, Mahaprabhu finds it intolerable and becomes angry. Here is another sloka that further affirms the same thing. Yatva Tattva Kavira Vakye Hayar Rasha Basha Sittanda Virutta Sunitena Haya Ullasa Rasa Rasa Basha Yara Nahi Kavichara Bhakti Sittanda Sindhu Nahi Paya Para. Some poets think that they can write anything as they please. In their writing, there is usually an incorrect presentation of the divine loving relations. There is no pleasure in hearing words which are contrary to the spiritual conclusions. Anyone who cannot distinguish between the genuine sacred scriptures and its reflection will never be able to cross the ocean of the spiritual conclusions which lead to a devotional service. So one example is Arya Samaj. They interpret every Vedic scriptures differently. In reality, they are the ones responsible for the degraded nature of the Hindus right now going on. Another example is Sri Ramakrishna and Swami Vivekananda. They even claim that Rama, Krishna are all mythology. Another example is Mayavadis. They say you don't care, you worship dog, cat, whatever you want to worship. It's all going to the, you are going to do it the same place. No, it's not true. Yanti Deva, see, but the Lord Krishna doesn't say that. But these people misinterpret. They do not actually accept even avatars and the Lord Krishna's expansions. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu warns about these kind of people and their perverted meanings. It is confirmed that hearing Srimad Bhagavatam makes one liberated. However, the results of hearing Bhagavatam differs. Here is a story from Srimad Bhagavad Mahatmyam. Story number 3, Gokarna delivers Dundukari. This is the one I really presented a long time back as a Harikatha also, but that was big. I am putting only a couple of slides. Dundukari lived with 5 bad women and constantly worried how to accumulate wealth and sense gratification. Owing to this, he lost all his intelligence and thus he engaged in cruel activities. One night while Dundukari was sleeping, these 5 bad women killed him and buried his dead body without anyone knowing. So because of all the sinful activities, Dundukari attained a ghost body. And remaining within the world, he was wandering here and there, suffering from hunger and thirst and lamenting for his misfortune. He could not find any shelter. After some time, the news of Dundukari's death reached Gokarna. Gokarna was his stepbrother. Gokarna is actually very, very religious and very advanced devotee who went to Gaya to perform Shraddha for his brother. But it did not work. And so he really returned back to his, this home where Dundukari was actually living. But there he saw him as ghost. He was coming in different forms, like dreadful sheep, then the elephant or buffalo, dog, cat, and so on. And he was wondering, what is going on? He asked, Gokarna asked, who are you? Why are you exhibiting all these fearsome forms? How did you fall into this condition? Tell me clearly, who are you? You are a ghost, goblin, or a demon. And the ghost started crying loudly. And he said, I am your brother, Dundukari. Because of my misdeeds, I have fallen. I am suffering all the reactions of my ill activities and have thus gotten this ghostly body. Somehow, by the will of God, I am now surviving only on air. My dear brother, you are an ocean of mercy. Please somehow deliver me from this ghostly form. Gokarna. Gokarna, why it is called Gokarna means he got an ear like the ear of the cow, because there is a story behind why it got. So Gokarna replied, dear brother, I am very surprised. I performed so many oblations to you for you in Gaya, but apparently nothing worked. The ghost said, I cannot be relieved by this condition. From this condition, by any hundreds of Shraddhas you do in Gaya, it's not going to really work for me. Gokarna was wondering what to do. Even hundreds of Shraddhas in Gaya could not do. This means something very serious. He decided to recite Srimad Bhagavatam to free up his brother. He appointed one Vaishnava Brahmana as the chief of the assembly, and in a very clear and sweet voice, he started to recite Srimad Bhagavatam from the first canto. That evening during the pause in the Katha, a wonderful incident happened. There was a bamboo tree. It was actually just a long one. It's a very long one. And every evening when he was giving a Katha, at the end, one of the knot, see, bamboo tree has knots. the knot will burst open. Every day, one by one and one by one and one by one. And at the end of the thing, all the seventh day, when all the knots were cracked. Dhundhukari really, Gokarna could really see his ghostly form is now disappeared. And what did he see? He attained a divine body, which was blackish like rain clouds. He was clad in yellow garments, a tulasi around his neck, a crown adorning his head, and beautiful earrings dangling from his ears. Divya Rupadaro Tulasi Dama Manditaha Pitavasa Ganaswasiyamo Mukuti Kuda Lavitau. He immediately offered obeisance to Gokarna, his brother, my dear brother. By your mercy, I have been released from this ghostly body. This ceremony of Saptaha, Bhagavad Saptaha, is so glorious that it can destroy ghostly forms and elevate one to the abode of Lord Krishna. When a person starts hearing this Bhagavad Katha, sins tremble in fear, anticipating that the Bhagavatam Katha will burn them to ashes. In the same way, that fire burns a twig or a tree. So what that means is, very easily it really burns all your sins. When Dhundhukari was speaking this way, the sky became effulgent and the Vaikuntha airplane appeared, carrying associates of the Lord. In front of the whole assembly, Dhundhukari boarded the plane. Gokarna posed a question to the associates. Oh dear associates of the Lord, in this assembly there are many pure-hearted people and are all of them heard Bhagavad Saptaha. Why is that this airplane has exclusively come only for Dhundhukari? Why are the others not getting the same result? Those servants of the Lord spoke. Oh Gokarna, the difference lies in the quality of their hearing. Although it is true that everyone heard the Katha, everyone did not meditate on it equally. For this reason, the results of performing bhajana or devotional service are different. The ghost fasted for 7 days and heard Bhagavatam with a completely fixed and attentive mind like Parikshit Maharaj. In the same way, if one does not hear attentively, or if one harbors doubts or lets his mind wander here and there, then he will not get the benefit of chanting this or listening to the Bhagavatam. Sushru Shubhihi. That's why in Bhagavatam says, with attention you have to really listen. So the result depends on the quality of hearing. So this sloka says, the difference in results comes of the differences in the quality of their hearing. Everyone present, it is true, listened to the Bhagavatam. But not everyone reflected on what they had heard. So the difference in results came from this as well as from the quality of their worship. So this is what this sloka says. So Parikshit Maharaj was listening to Bhagavatam without sleeping, without eating, and without drinking even a single drop of water for how long? Entire all the 7 days. And what was he drinking? He was drinking the nectarian Bhagavatam stories. Bhagavatam comes from Krishna, and yes, Bhagavata, Bhakta Bhagavata Saraj is closer to Krishna. And how can I be closer to Krishna? There are 4 ways. Worshipping and serving Tulasi Maharani, associating and worshipping the devotees of Krishna, living in Madhura, Madhura means here Madhura and Vrindavan, and hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. Tadiya Tulasi Vaishnava Madhura Bhagavata Yei Charira Sevahaya Krishnera Abhimata. So things related to the Lord include the Tulasi and Krishna devotees and his abode Mathura and Vrindavan and Srimad Bhagavata. Now this Bhagavata means actually Bhakta Bhagavatam and also the Grantha Bhagavatam. So Krishna is very eager to see everyone render the appropriate service to these 4. These are the 4 important ones. So our dedication and concentration is very important. Lord Krishna says, Mai eva mana adat ritva Mai buddhim niveshaya nivasishyasi Mai eva ata urtvam samsayaha. So just fix your mind upon me alone. This is Lord Krishna is saying. Just fix your mind upon me alone. engage all your intelligence in me, thus without a doubt you will reside in me forever, even forever. So many think Lord stays in Vaikunta only, but Lord tells different story. Oh, he was saying, people thinking that, I reside here in Vaikunta all the time. No, here in Vaikunta I put a dummy. Naham vasami Vaikunde yoginam hrudayena cha madbhaktya yatra gayanti tatra dishtami narada. This is from Padma Purana. Oh Narada, I do not reside in Vaikunta, or not in the hearts of the yogis. Where do I reside? I reside where my devotees glorify my name, sings bhajans, and they glorify me and my form and qualities and my transcendental pastimes. That is the only place I am there. I am not in Vaikunta. So Govinda constantly remains in the heart of his devotees. Bhaktera hridaye Govindera satata vishrama Govinda gahena mama bhakta se parana. He says, my devotees is my life. He makes his devotees into Bhakta Bhagavata. This is the thing. Okay? Govinda kahane mama Bhakta se parana. He becomes, my devotee becomes Bhakta Bhagavata. From whom you have to listen all the stories about me. That's what he says. And now we are concluding with a summary of today's class. So, we found these are the important points. Material intelligence is actually controlled by three modes of nature. They are Maya. they are not good. Krishna gives spiritual intelligence via his bhaktas. And the topmost Grantha Bhagavata is Srimad Bhagavatam. Devotees of Krishna are the Bhakta Bhagavatas. Bhagavatam should be heard from pure devotees. Never listen to perverted meanings of these Bhagavatams. Result depends on dedication and attention when hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. Tulasi, Vaishnava, Madhuravasam in Vrindavan Vasam, and Bhagavata. They are the four things which are really will bring closer to Krishna. And where does Krishna live? He dwells into the hearts of his devotees. So he makes the hearts of his devotees into temples. And that is the Goloka Vrindavan. So Goloka Vrindavan is now, you don't have to go there and then only see that. No, Goloka Vrindavan can be realized right in your heart. Provided if you hear Bhagavata from the pure devotees and attentively hear and forget to throw all your material intelligence out and plunge into the nectarian pastime. Then only you can understand the spiritual truth, you can understand the spiritual dimension, and that is the ultimate goal. Thank you. And any questions? Now to conclude, we want to sing the first 3 verses of this bhajan. O Lord, please abide in the temple of my heart. How long? Both day and night. O Krishna Murari, O Sri Krishna Murari. Devotion, love, flower garlands and sandalwood, please accept them. O delighter of the heart. In life or in death, I worship only you with all these offerings. O beautiful one, O enchanter of the heart, please abide in the temple of my heart all the time. I want to call Madan Mohini to sing this bhajan for us.
Mama mana mandire Rani Shridin Krishna Murari Shri Krishna Murari Mama mana mandire Rani Shridin Krishna Murari Shri Krishna Murari Nandana, tumi niyo hai कुमार ईसो नंद कुमार नंद कुमार हवे प्रेम प्रदीपे आरती तोमार हवे प्रेम प्रदीपे आरती तोमार नयन जमुना झरे अनिबार नयन जमुना झरे अनिबार तोमार विराहे गिरिधारी तोमार विराहे गिरिधारी कृष्ण मुरारी श्री कृष्ण मुरारी मम मन मंदिरे दानिशीदेनु कृष्ण मुरारी श्री कृष्ण मुरारी पंदन गणित बजुक जीवन पंदन गणित बजुक जीवन कृष्ण मुरारी श्री कृष्ण मुरारी मम मन मंदिरे दानिशीदेनु कृष्ण मुरारी श्री कृष्ण मुरारी मम मन मंदिरे दानिशीदेनु कृष्ण मुरारी श्री कृष्ण मुरारी मम मन मंदिरे दानिशीदेनु कृष्ण मुरारी श्री कृष्ण मुरारी मम मन मंदिरे दानिशीदेनु कृष्ण मुरारी श्री कृष्ण मुरारी कृष्ण मुरारी श्री कृष्ण मुरारी